Yep, I just wanted to make sure you guys aren't looking at my 5,000 unorganized emails. So
I've got 10,000. It's all good.
Yeah. So, okay, let me, Scott, do you record on your end? All right. Oh, cool. Yeah, as long as you got it, we're good to go here. So I'm going to show you how to use WinFlex Web. And this is Mutual of Omaha's illustration software. So in order, if any of you guys are going to start writing IULs, please do this the proper way. If you use EasySolve, there's nothing wrong with that. This is just actually the right way to do it, right? So it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but you're putting more money than you should into it, which is really the proper way to actually write an IUL. You want to make sure it's always funded properly. So we're going to go to illustrations here. And Scott, just give like a background on the IULs too, and for a lot of the other folks on here, an IUL can have two different purposes. Typically for our clientele, it's just for the death benefit. They want something that's going to be with them when they die, not if they die, right? That's going to be the simplest way with what our clientele is looking for. There's another way you can use IULs for tax-free retirement, right? So that's going to work really well for younger folks in their 20s and 30s that can afford to put a lot of money into an IUL. And then once they're 50, they never pay on it anymore. And they're taking out, 20, 30, 40, 200 grand a year tax-free for the rest of their life. When you take money out of an IUL, you got two options that you can do. You can either take a withdrawal from it. A withdrawal will be taxable. A portion of that's going to be taxable. Number two, you can take out a loan against it, right? And this is where the power of the IUL comes in when you take out a loan. A loan, how the IRS looks at it, is not taxable income. It's not, right? So what happens is, let's say, Scott, you had $100,000 and it's sitting in your policy, right? You took out $5,000 that year. You want to go buy someone something, right? Or you want to go on a really nice dinner and go eat some gold carrots or something random, right? So you go spend $5,000. Well, guess what? You still have the 95,000 in there. That's still growing at 6, 7, 8%. The loan is, let's say it's only at 3 or 4. Well, what it's doing, the cash value that the 95K is still accumulating is paying off the extra loan. So it's not like you're physically paying it back. Your account is paying it back, right? So you take out, Scott, let's say, in a few years, you start taking out $200K a year, right? You've been funding it for a while. Well, guess what? You ain't ever fucking paying it back. You just want to be careful on that, because what happens is if your account goes down to zero, you got some issues now. You have a very hefty tax bill, right? If you just took that out for the last 20 years, 200K times 20, let's say that's $4 million bucks that you're probably going to get taxed on now. That's not going to be a happy day for you, right? But that's that I'm actually not sure of, Scott. Ernie's saying yes. So
I'm almost positive you still do.
I would want to say yes on that, Scott. I just don't know, because I know, for example, I have a brokerage account, and with that brokerage account, I can take out a loan at like 1%. But my money that I still, let's say I had $20K in there. I took out a $10,000 loan. My money's still growing on $20,000. I just have a loan out against it. So they use it as collateral. So Ernie said, if you want, follow up with Mutual of Omaha on that. I don't have a good answer for that. But here's how you're. Yeah, that does make sense. Sometimes I wondered how the accounts have been replenishing. But anyway, so we always want to do what's called the Index Universal Life Express through Mutual of Omaha, right? So this is going to be their simplified issue policy that most of our clients are looking for. They don't want blood and urine. So let's say we just got Bob Jones here. He's a 45-year-old male, non-tobacco in Alabama. There's going to be 3 columns or places here that we have to fill out in order for the IUL to be insured, the solve for, and the agent info. You can pretty much forget about all the other stuff. We'll go through some of it, but that's pretty much all you actually have to do this. So you're going to go to solve for. This is the important part right here. It's very simple. So we want to solve for the premium. right? Let's say, hey, if we're going to get $100,000 in place, what is the cost of that going to be? We want to solve for what's called the target premium. That's the important part here, the target premium. So now it's going to give us an answer for what the $100,000 would be. Without getting too in depth on this, Scott, well, we'll just give you an example. So this guy is 45. Let's say after the age of 70, he's no longer going to pay on this policy, right? The cat is what it'll do. It'll take out of the cash value to keep the policy going. And let's just put in my information real quick. And let's see what this calculates to. But that's all you have to do to actually present a illustration. Like that, you just want to, it's for 100,000. It's banded by how old you are. So if you, sometimes you can go up to 300. It depends what age you are. Sometimes it'll only go to 150. But Scott, you see how the initial premium and the target premium meet now? That's good. You want to make sure those meet. And what it also did, it just brought it from guaranteed of 20 years. If you use Easy Solve, it's only guaranteed for 20 years. When you do it this way, it guarantees it for longer. Not that that's necessary. I think my IUL is only guaranteed for 10 years. Like, I'm not too worried about that when you understand it, but some people are like, what the fuck? Uh-oh, right? It's weird to say it's only guaranteed for that certain amount of time. And now we're going to open up the illustration. Right, so we have the premium as $95.09. Let's say we did it using Easy Solve. Just like the application that you can use in Mutual of Omaha. My phone's about to die. I'm just going to take this out. Okay, so it's loading real quick. So the same coverage for the 45-year-old male, non-smoker, 100,000 would have been $89, right? So this is an extra $6-7 more expensive. I know it doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's an extra 5-6%, right? That's not nothing on this policy, right? We're making sure we're funding it properly here. And with Mutual of Omaha's IUL, what I really like about it, there's not long-term care insurance, but it comes with chronic illness. What that means is they can't perform 2 out of the 6 daily activities each day. They can't like bathe themselves, eat by themselves, go to the bathroom by themselves. It will pay out. So that's a big sell for folks too, right? It's not that it's you want to be clear. It's not long-term care insurance, but if they end up in a nursing home or long-term care, they probably can't perform 2 out of the 6 daily activities. Right, so this is a big plus for that situation too. But then we're going to go down to the illustration here so you guys can read this. A lot of you guys have probably gone through this already. And if you guys are in a state that's not Florida, you typically have to get this illustration signed by the client. In Florida, they don't require it. The first time I started submitting IUL, I'm like, what the hell is this? This is annoying. But Florida, you don't have to do that. Outside of Florida, you do actually have to sign the IUL and submit it in order to get paid on it and it be in effect. And I typically use DocuSign for that. But here's the illustration, okay? If you look up here, there's 3 different interest rates on the top right, okay? You have the 0%, the guaranteed. You got the 2.75%, which is half of the non-guaranteed. And then you got the 5.87% over here. So a random person calling me. Sorry about that. So then you got the non-guaranteed, and this program is linked to the S&P 500, right? So the S&P 500 goes up, you go up. So 6% is already fairly conservative. The S&P 500 typically goes up more than that, right? So this is already fairly conservative. You don't want to look at the guaranteed and not the alternate ones, right? The guaranteed means that the stock market tanks for the next 20 years. Scott, when's the last time that happened, right? If that's happened, we got some bigger issues on hand. Right, so we look at the non-guaranteed values. That's what it's supposed to perform at. So after 20 years, this guy put about $23,000 into it, and they got about another, they got $24,000 sitting in the policy. That's what that means. This accumulated value over here. Let's say at age 70, the client no longer pays on it anymore, right? So now you see that their account value is still growing and growing because of the cash value in there is growing, right? But what we want to look at, hey, if we don't pay on it after the age of 70 anymore, how long does this stay in effect? So when this reaches 0, you see there's nothing after 94. If they stop paying it after the age of 70, it would last them until 93. The policy would expire. If they took loans out and stuff in the middle of that, that's not going to be good. Right? Because then it's definitely not going to last. Yep. Exactly. I'm sorry. But that's how an IUL works there, Scott, with Mutual of Omaha. So you always, the base of that is you always want to make sure you're solving for the target premium. That's the correct way of actually doing it. Correct. Yep. Yep. Cool. Yeah. Do you guys have any other questions on here? Bueller? Nope. Cool. Well, hey, we'll leave it at that for today. We'll make sure we get back to the basics here next week. If you guys got any questions, keep me posted, and let's go out there and have a good weekend. See you guys.